This is the 2026 Venture Stratus SR282VFD with Great American. Let's take a walk through and check it out. Our Stratus has an overall length of 33 feet 11 inches, an exterior height with the AC of 10 foot 11 inches, which fits great in little storage, an exterior width of 8 feet with our slide outs closed, interior height of 6 foot 6 inches, which is really cool on the interior, a dry unloaded vehicle weight of 7,420 pounds. We have a hitch weight of 910 pounds, cargo carrying weight 1,835. So our cargo carrying weight and our UVW combined gives us a gross vehicle weight rating of 9,255 pounds. So decent sized truck to be able to pull it, but you wouldn't necessarily need a 3/4 ton truck if you're just doing general camping. Our tanks on here for our fresh tank are 45 gallon. Our gray and black both come in at 32 gallons a piece. You have two 20-pound LP tanks in the front, giving you a total of 40 pounds of LP. And we have 15-inch rims with Goodyear tires on them, the Goodyear Endurance tires, two Dexter axles. We have two slide outs, and we can sleep 5 to 6 people. And we have a full awning that covers 21 feet of the exterior. Let's take an up close and personal look at our Stratus 282 VFD. Here we are on the front cap of our Stratus. We have our cool blue LED lights right there. Front windshield, which we'll see from the inside. We've got our dinette booth right there. Gives us a great view out front. Up front, of course, we have a cover for our LP tanks, the two 20-pound LP tanks with a dual propane regulator on there. If you don't know what that does, you turn on both your tanks, select one of them. When that one runs dry, it's automatically going to start pulling from the other one so it doesn't interrupt your LP feed. It'll give you a red indicator on there letting you know this other tank is empty and we need to refill it so it doesn't interrupt again. Swap that valve over to the other one and you're good to go. Powered ton jack on the front, 12-volt powered. It does have an override crank, real easy. Pull that black cap off, crank it so it can get you out of a jam if it goes out. Got our tongue and lock. We have our breakaway system on here to stop the brakes if anything were to happen to our hitch and come detached. And then over here behind all of that is where our battery will go, and we have our battery disconnect. What I really like about this Stratus is everything is in that box. It is concealed from the elements. So a lot of units have breakers and all these fuses and stuff on the exterior and get road grime and salt and all that stuff on there, and they corrode over time. Well, everything is nice and sealed in our little combi Trael box right there. Battery disconnect, we want to go ahead and turn that off when we're storing our unit unplugged. When we are plugged in somewhere, we want to turn it on, or when we're using it, that way our charging system when we're plugged in is actually charging our batteries. You'll have your converter system that changes 110 to 12 volts. Let's wrap around the corner and check out our storage. So we have our pass-through storage right here. We have doors on both sides. Not huge compartments to be able to put big chairs. So you want the small folding chairs that go in there. We have our docking station with our quick connect coiled hose right here, spray port that can go ahead and hook up right there, hot and cold water out here on the exterior, as well as your city water connection right here at the top. And with that, you turn a little valve and you can fill your fresh tank. Your fresh tank is your onboard water storage. Take it with you wherever you go. If you're going to a site that doesn't have water, you can bring your water with you, kick your water pump on, and come out that way. If you have a city water, where you're going, hook it up right there. We also have our tank flush for our black tank to help clean that out. And we have our satellite and cable hookups right there. We're talking about our water pump. Well, if we pull these two screws out right here, we have quick and easy access to it. So when we do our walkthroughs, we like to talk about maintenance. And if we look behind here, we can see all of our water hoses right here hooked up to the back of our docking station. We want to check all those water fixtures, make sure everything is nice and tight under there. During winter and summer and all this stuff, it's plastic. It expands and contracts, right? You pressurize your unit, might have a little slow drip. You want to check all that stuff when you pressurize your unit. The other thing we want to check is our water pump. We saw that little strainer on the water pump itself. You want to check that once a year. Clean that strainer, make sure there's no debris or anything picked up from the tank, and then also algae and stuff can build in there too depending on your water source. Want to clean that stuff out so it doesn't reduce the flow of our water pump. That water pump is also 12-volt powered, so if we have any issues, it's generally going to run off of our 12 volts. Want to check our fuse, check our battery, stuff like that. And it's easily located in that front compartment, so pretty easy to go to. All right, as we duck under our slide outs, both of our slide outs are going to be 12-volt powered. We have motors in our underbelly that run these in and out. This is a rack and pinion slide. As we look, we can see our rams that go in and out. You're only going to have one motor connected to those rams. We'll show you the override when we get to the door side and show you how we can override these in the event that it goes out. Back over under our frame and everything towards the front area, we'll see our 12-volt BAL system right here. This is our stabilizers. I didn't say levelers, so don't level your unit with them. They are stabilizers. Our switches are on the other side. It's 12 volts. You run these jacks down after you have leveled your unit. So you want to level your unit with stacker blocks under your tires and then use your front tongue jack to level it front to back. And then we go ahead and drop these down to bring more stabilization to our unit. They also have an override right here. If something goes wrong, we can hook up our crank handle to that and run them up and down. You're also going to see your low point drains right here. Open valves, and we can drain our water out of our system, then blow it out with air. That all has to do with our winterization. If you want to know more about winterization, check it out in our HAPS Helpful Hacks area on our YouTube playlist, and we will give you more information on that, or check your owner's manual. We're going to see this white valve right here. That is for our fresh tank. Fresh tank, we can fill it up all the way if we're going camping for a long period of time. We're not going to have water, fill it up. Otherwise, just a little bit of water if you want to use your facilities while traveling, you can do that. If you don't need it, open that valve, dump the water out. It's going to become stagnant in there over a while, and also it adds extra weight to your trailer, so just get rid of it. Back over to our slides, wiper seal underneath. You want to check that every now and again. We have wiper seal right there. Not much else to look at. We do have our output for our black tank system and our gray tank system. They are both hooked together in that one. We'll see our valve right here above it. Kind of hard to get to whenever the slide outs are out, so that's kind of inconvenient, but whenever you close that slide out, it will be a little bit easier. 50 amp twist lock service right here to be able to plug in and get our shore power. We have our 15-inch rims with our Goodyear Endurance tires on here, so we have great tires right off the bat when we purchase our unit. Our gray tank valve located right at the edge of this slide out right here, so that one's not too hard to get to whenever we're out on the road. If you didn't know, your black tank valve needs to stay closed all the time when you're camping. Gray tank is the only one that I suggest leaving open as long as you have a sewer connection. Otherwise, your black tank, you need to keep it closed. We always need to keep water in that system. That way you don't get that dry tank. If you don't know anything about that, you should educate yourself. We have a video on black tank flush too in our Great American RV YouTube channel, HAPS Helpful Hacks. Check it out. Pretty popular video, gives you some tips. You're also going to have the BAL exact suspension system on here. It gives you a little smoother ride. Our rear slide is going to be, once again, another rack and pinion slide. Let's wrap around the back. This is our bed slide. Under our bed, we have considerable amount of storage under here to be able to drop some stuff in. And as we work our way to the back, we do have our side storage. Another big pass through here in the rear. I like that. Everything has slam latches on it with the magnetic holders, so that's nice and convenient. We're also going to have more BAL electric stabilizers back here, 12 volts to be able to run those with a flip of a switch. Up top, we're going to be pre-wired for our Furrion backup camera system. It means we already have 12 volts ran to it. Whenever you turn your running lights on, that camera will kick on, be able to see behind you while you're traveling or when you're backing up. Full-size spare tire. We have our bumper back here in the back that can also double as our storage for our black tank hose, so you don't have to keep it in your compartment all nasty and stuff in there. We also have our ladder access. We're going to use that here in a second to climb up on our roof and check it out. No hitch or anything under the rear. We do have some lighting underneath to go ahead and make it look cool at night. Let's climb that ladder and check out the roof. All right, here we are on the roof. We're going to start in the front. We have our front termination strip right there. Look at all the ceiling on that front strip. I love that. That's a great way from the factory to show that, hey, we care and we don't want your unit to leak. That's how it should look all the time. We also have our solar panel right here. Everything nicely sealed around all of our bracketry. Also have our slide outs. Both of these are going to be pretty much the same besides size. You have Eternabond tape that covers the trim right there where all the screws are. Looks pretty good. You want to keep an eye on that on a regular basis. Make sure no sticks or anything got up here and tore any of that up, as well as your wiper seal right here. Keep a good eye on any debris that's up here. Good way to avoid some of those issues is to get slide toppers on your unit. But if you don't have them, get up here before you close your slide outs. Make sure you don't have anything up here. Now, when we get up here and check all of our sealant on our roof every 60 to 90 days, that's right, owner's maintenance, 60 to 90 days, check all of this sealant and make sure you have no cracking, peeling, or any issues, okay? We want to do the same thing above all of our seals right here on our slide out. Anywhere where we see screws, trim, stuff like that, check that sealant and make sure we don't have any issues, cracking, peeling. This is a TPO rubber roof. We want to clean that at least once a year and make sure we don't have any scrapes, tree marks, anything that could puncture this roof and allow water entry. We also want to check our skylights, our vent lids, stuff like that. Skylights are commonly known over time, if you have high heat, they're going to start to crack. You'll see cracks running where the screws are. And I'm talking a number of years down the road generally, unless you have extreme heat, keep it in the sun. Once you see that crack, seal over it, get that thing replaced. This will allow water in. We can see we have wood framing underneath here. What's water do to wood? It rots it, it damages it. Make sure we are maintaining our roof and our sealants on the exterior. Most common thing that people don't do, and it ruins campers. Up here, we're also going to have our Air 360 wine guard system right here. We'll show you on the inside. You add a gateway to it. You can have internet with you wherever you go, or you can just use it as your regular antenna to be able to pick up air channels wherever you're at if you don't have cable. Up on your roof, you have your ladder, obviously. Have sealant, no termination strip, as you can see right here. We actually have a gutter rail here on the back side, which I kind of like. Hey, if it works, great, but I do like the gutter rail right there. All right, wrapping around to our door side, another door entry for our pass-through storage. Once again, slam latch, have motion lighting here in the back so you can leave them on, close that door, the light will kick back on whenever you open the door. We have our extend and retract for our BAL stabilizers right there. One does the left side, one does the right side. 12-volt powered, you're gonna have resettable breakers under there. They're gonna auto reset, so if you overdo it by trying to lift your camper, which you're not supposed to, just stabilize it, don't level it. We want to go ahead and just let it sit for a second. That breaker will automatically reset, and then you can go ahead and retract or extend them from there. But once again, you have override on every one of them if you need it. As we move on over here, we have our rear entry into our bedroom area with our Suburban steps. It's a new product. Everybody's putting them on them. I like them. Bigger first step right here coming out of your unit. And I like the way they look, right? Easy to use, much like all of your other systems. You have retractable legs right here. We can push that button, extend and retract our legs where they need to be. We're ready to store them, pop them up in there. You have a little latch for storage. I like to give a little tug, make sure it's in there. And then we pull that handle. Make sure your door is all the way open whenever you open and close that so you don't tear your door up. See, our steps are a little off level. Push that button, click it out, we're done, it's level. Make sure you level out your unit before you level out your steps. Anytime you're raising or lowering your unit, you want to make sure these steps are in, because if your door is closed, you're going to bend up this piece right here, or if we don't level our steps properly, we're going to have damage from hitting this frame when we open and close our door. And then of course it also helps to make sure, once we level all that, that our door closes properly. Have G-glass right here, so both entry doors have that glass on there. And I like the entry door to the bedroom specifically because when I camped, we had that same layout, and we were able to put a ramp right here for the dogs. Our dogs were older, in and out, and then we still had our regular steps in the front, so I really like that entry. Outdoor TV hookup for our 110, and then we also have our cable hookup right here. Moving down, Suburban water heater, 12-volt powered, on-demand water heater system. We have propane to heat the water, and we have our pop-off valve right here, on-off switch. That's generally your technician switch to turn that off and on so they can work on it. You have a 12-volt fuse right here. You want to check it if you're not getting any power. First place you want to go. And then that's pretty much it. Make sure no varmints grow any nests in there. and you're good to go. We'll show you how that panel operates on the inside when we get to that. Moving on back, suburban furnace right here. All we have is our exhaust exposed out here to the outside. You'll see some of them with the cover out here. Those are easier to maintain because you don't have to pull the whole furnace out, but this one is on the interior. We'll show you how to get to it when we get to the inside. Coming on back under our big 21-foot awning right here. Let's check out the LED light right there. I like how that one is. I don't remember the specific name of it, but it's not your individual bulbs, right? It's going to give you a ton more light right there on that strip than what those individual small LED bulbs are, for example, like on our front cap. More suburban steps right here for our front entry that'll lead into our living room area. As we can see this little sticker right here, Asdell component panels. What that means is this is not made of wood. We don't have any wood on our panels right here. So if there is a water leak in there, we're not going to have any swelling, delamination, or anything like that. They're also vacuum bonded, which means it's vacuum sealed between the two panels, an 1.5 inch thick wall right there, styrofoam in between, so good insulation. And they put adhesive on the panels, squeeze them together, suck all the air out. So what that also does is suck all the glue into the foam and really makes a strong bond on here compared to a pinch roll system, which is just put on some rollers and then set out ready to go. It's not getting as good of an adhesion in there. Plus you throw your Asdell in there, which isn't going to rot, swell, fall apart, or anything from any water entry, because let's face it, it can happen. So why not go ahead and seal out any opportunity of it actually damaging your unit. Right under our awning lights, we have a vent for over our oven. We want to ventilate out. You have two tabs on there. You want to make sure you unlatch those so the air will actually ventilate out. Close them when you're storing your unit. Your awning is a sunshade, right? It's not a rain shade. It's not a hurricane-proof shade. It's not a storm shade. Nothing of that nature. You're leaving for an extended period of time, got a storm coming in, wind's blowing really hard. Roll the awning in. You don't want the insurance claim, I promise. It's 12-volt powered awning. Run it in and out whenever you store it. Another thing we need to do is whenever we set up, either decide from the rear or from the front to pitch that awning. It's as simple as that. Pull it down. Now any AC runoff that gets on there, very light dew, a little bit of drizzle that gets on there, it doesn't puddle in the middle of this big long awning. It'll actually run off. And like I said, you can do it in the front or the rear. You can choose which direction you want that water to run off. Coming a little bit further, we have two more switches right here for our front stabilizers. Let's check out the underbelly before we go inside. All right, we have our BAL frame right here for our whole unit. We can also see our BAL stabilizers right here. We see our motors 12-volt controlled and our override right here on the side. Hook an impact or something up to it and we can go ahead and run those up. Have our fresh tank drop right there. This is a plastic underbelly. It's not fabric or anything. They probably have some heated, some of that tinfoil stuff that they put over the top of it to help reduce any heat, cold, insulation and stuff in there. You can drop it by taking these bolts down if you need to check anything out, but hopefully you don't have to. Heated underbelly, so it will protect you in the winter. Whenever you kick on your furnace, it will heat that underbelly. As we move back, we can see we have drum brakes on each one of these. Our suspension is over our axle, and our axles are Dexter axles. Keep on rolling back. Not much else to see here. We'll scroll all the way to the back. We do have a LP quick connect right here under our J-wrap in the rear that we can hook an outdoor grill or fire pit or something to if we wish. We have that there. Just want to turn that valve off like that to be able to hook up and then turn it back on whenever you're hooked up. That way the flow will actually come out. Had a lot of customers bring me a unit say, I hooked it up, it won't work. It's because you still have that valve off. So make sure we're turning that on so we have even flow. Another thing I'll say about our stabilizers right here, want to lubricate these every now and again, put white lithium grease or something of that nature. We can see some grease right there and just kind of rub it into these. Work these things every now and again. Otherwise, they're going to rust up. Make sure we're lubricating them, and we can keep them rocking and rolling. We see our little blue lights right here for our underside at night to make it look pretty. Let's go check out the inside. One thing I forgot to tell you, behind our tires here on the door side, so we're opposite of our slide outs right here. We can see this bolt sticking out with a little nut on the head of it right here. That is for our override, okay? So we can override our slide out system. That motor, we can see our piston right there. Our motor is actually in our underbelly right here. This is hooked to it. So we take our crank handle and we can run that slide out in or out manually if something happens to our slide. So keep that in mind. The only thing I don't really care for is we don't have a hole here on the side, so it does make a little smaller area to be able to put a drill or something in there. So make sure you have something that fits before you hit the road with this unit. On your entry doors, you're also going to have wind resistant hinges on here to keep it from slamming against stuff, so you'll have a little bit of tension on that door, no latches to hold them on. You're also going to have that Lippert screen defender on here, which is very pet friendly. Pets can't tear it up when they claw at it. Very good little system right there. Let's check out the rest of the inside. All right, our front dinette booth right here has a couple of different options to it. Before I show you that, we do have that big front windshield right here that gives us a little bit of light or view out front. We do have a shade. Notice cool little magnet right here to actually keep it locked up because this is a curved front cap. I like the idea of putting that on there. That way it's not just hanging up against this person. This table can shift around all around. Okay, we can keep it in one place. We can put it a little bit closer to everybody spinning it around. We can also detach it. So really easy to do. Just pull that little latch there, pull that latch there, and we can actually pull our table off. Pull this pole out. Drop our table on those pads right there. And then we can take our backers, lay it down, and that is some of our sleeping space right there. So a couple things on our entry. This is our front entry door right here. We'll notice this little plate. Pull that plate off. That's actually the wiring for your awning you can gain access to. So nice, we don't have to pull a wall apart or anything like that to gain access to that. It may not look pretty, but when it comes to working on it, that's a really nice idea that they have there. We have our 12-volt panel right here that controls all of our stuff. No crazy technology or anything, no touch screens or anything. So if you like it simple like me, this is the way to go. Awning, extend and retract. Our two slide outs, extend and retract, all 12-volt powered. We have our interior and awning lights right here. And then we also have our water pump. That 12-volt water pump we talked about in the storage bay. We're going to use that to pull out water from our fresh tank out to our fixtures when we're dry camping. And then we also have tank heaters, right? So if we're in extreme cold weather, then those tanks actually have a little heat mats stuck to them. Kick that on, 12-volt heater for them, so it'll help them from freezing up. We're also going to have our tank meters up here for fresh tank, our battery meter, whether it's empty or full, and then our black and gray tanks there as well. This is going to be a generic panel, so you may not have multiple tanks. If you don't, you're only using black one and gray one like you are on this particular unit. And then of course it'll light up there on top. You have your flat screen TV up here to the side of your control panel. Pull it out and we can adjust it a pretty good bit to cover any area that we want. Even watch it from the kitchen. And lock it back in for travel. Has a little bracket back there that grasps it, and it's great for travel. No travel straps or anything like that. Have a big window right here we can go ahead and open up and use whenever it's nice and cool outside. Now this has the desk feature on it, which is cool. You pull your travel latch off and you pull that out, set a chair right here, and we have a little desk area that we can go ahead and get under. Also have storage for your laptop, electronics, whatever you want in this area. Cables, chargers, so on and so forth. And of course, whenever you want to travel, put that little latch right there. More storage under here. Big, huge area behind our fireplace. As we can see, our fireplace is 110 powered. It's not gas heat. We can go ahead and kick it on just for ambiance, for a little bit of color. We can change that color if we want. Other than that, it is a heater, electric heat. If you don't want to run the gas heat, don't run it. Use this. This puts out a good bit of heat. It has a timer on it, all kind of stuff. You have little storage drawers right here on the side, just like a regular desk. So like that, as we work into our kitchen right here, we have our Invision 110 microwave. Have our hood vent. Like I said, that little latch on the outside, need to make sure you unlatch those, otherwise this isn't ventilating anything. We have our light up there, 3-burner stove top right here, and we have our glass cover that we can put down for not only for travel, because that's how it needs to be so it doesn't fall and break, but for more counter space if we need it. We also have our gas oven down here at the bottom to bake us up some cookies. And behind here is where our furnace is located. We'll pull that off and take a look real quick. All right, so we pulled the 6 screws out of our furnace cover right there, and we see the bare bones of our furnace right there, 12 volts coming in, and our thermostat. And you're also gonna have an LP line on there. Anytime this is removed, LP leak check, I suggest bringing it to the shop if anything happens. That way we make sure we do that LP leak check on here and make sure that we don't have any leaks. Not much else to look at. Speaking of LP leak checks and stuff, you're gonna have your LP, RVCO, LP, your RVCO and LP detector right here at the bottom. Those are good for 5 years. You wanna change it out after that. After it expires, it does have that expiration date on there. And then also your smoke detectors, I don't know if you knew, but 10 years, you need to change those out. This is 12 volt powered, so no batteries on that, but your smoke detector, check your batteries once a year. Moving on from our furnace, we have our big, huge sink right here to wash dishes, and we have our dry rack. I like how Venture does their designs, their backsplashes, their cutting boards, all that stuff. Everybody likes to show off that it's Venture. I like their logo, I like their stuff, it's really cool. As we look under our sink right here, we have access to the back of that tankless water heater. If for whatever reason, once again, we go to maintenance, right? All this stuff is going to need to be maintained or worked on at some point. How easy and accessible is all that? A couple screws, we can pull the panel off and get straight to it. But we also have our plumbing fixtures under here and our P-trap and our water, okay? Want to check all that stuff. Once again, after winter and summer, just put your hand on it, tighten it up a little bit, and make sure that we don't have any leaks in there that can damage our unit. Besides that, 4-drawer storage right here. We have open cabinets right here, and we move over to our side. Let's check out this slide out. Over here we have our Invision refrigerator, if I can figure out which way it's set up, because it can open both ways. We have that option right there. What? Open both ways? I don't even have to change the hinge, okay? That's how cool that Invision refrigerator is right there. Our bottom one, not as cool, but it does open up, and we have a little freezer area right there. We have a huge pantry space with our shelving that can move up and down. I appreciate that because everybody's groceries are different sizes as far as what they want to use. We have our Thomas Paine recliner right here. We cannot snuggle if we want. USB, USB-C, 110. If we want to snuggle, we kick it up and we can snuggle and watch a movie. If we want to kick back and relax, pull that cable, kick back. We have little lights on here. We have massage and heat recliners so we can fall asleep, and we can rock and roll from there into our bathroom. I lied. Before we go to our bathroom, there's a few things we want to talk about. Cool little cubby hole right here, USB and 110. If you have your phones, electronics, you want to hide it from the kids, stick it all up here and close the door. Nobody will find that. JBL detachable speaker right here for Bluetooth. There's no radio in here. They give you a speaker that is portable inside, outside, whatever you want to do with it. More USB charging right here for that speaker. We have our Go Power solar controller system right here. That is to convert our solar power that's on the roof coming in into 12 volt charging power for our battery system. And then of course we have our Coleman AC. Now it's 50 amp service, comes with one AC, you have the second one optional, both 15,000 BTU units. This one thermostat right here will control both heat and AC. The heat will be for the entire unit, the AC will be just for that front AC system. So know that our rear AC right there is going to be controlled by a separate thermostat and only control the AC, not the heat. Speaking of heat, let's look down here on our floors. They do have the vents in the floor. They are little dust traps. Take it or leave it. I prefer the ones in the wall, but all in all, as long as it's keeping me warm, I'm good. All right, so for our bathroom, we have sliding doors, kind of like pocket doors, but not. They're not in the wall. They're on the outside. On our little roller, we have our travel latches for them. You have that for both your entry from your bedroom and your bathroom. On our wall here, Suburban tankless water heater controller. How that works, turn it on. Set it to the temperature you want, and turn on only hot water. Don't mix the cold water with it. Only do your hot water. If it's too hot, turn your temperature down at your thermostat. Over here, we're also going to have the Level Mate Pro. Download this app on your phone. It is basically a level for your trailer. While you're out there setting up your trailer and stuff, you can look at this app and it's going to tell you if your front is low or rear is low or left or right is low. Very easy and convenient way to be able to set up your unit and get to camping quick. GFCI protected resettable breaker right here in your bathroom. All of your outlets and wet locations and outside are probably going to go to this outlet. It has a little reset button. If it ever trips, it needs to be reset. It's probably because it got wet or you got too much stuff plugged in. Unplug a few of those items, the griddles, the blow dryers, all that stuff. Reset it and try it again. You have a little medicine cabinet behind your mirror here, small sink, and then of course once again cabinet underneath. We have entry to our plumbing fixtures and stuff right there. And then as we move over to our toilet and shower, our toilet, foot pedal flush right there, and then our shower, staying in pretty good size shower right here. We have our draw curtain to go ahead for the privacy, and then we have a large skylight. I'm only 5'6". I'm not doing anybody any justice by talking about height, but pretty extensive area if you are a little bit taller. We have our detachable shower head to make that more convenient as well. Before we leave the bathroom, if you don't know, I like taking panels off. So let's see what's under our sink. Not much to see, just our inlet for our 50 amp service right there going to our breaker panel, and of course more water fixtures going into our underbelly area. Over by our shower though, we have our little panel right here, these two screws. If we pulled that off, that will allow us access to our waterless P-trap underneath our shower. Once again, gain access to that stuff. Put a little hand on it, tighten it up, make sure it's not leaking. Coming out of our mid-bath, we walk into our bedroom. East to west slide right here. I like this layout. It gives you a lot more room around it rather than being on the north or south side of the wall. And then we have our 60 by 70 bed right here. That is pretty comfortable. And then we also have storage underneath with our hydraulic lifts, which I really love. I don't have to hold the bed up while I get something out from underneath. Huge amount of storage under there. Put that back down. Have our little stands above our bed to put our phones and stuff. We're also going to have USB charging under there as well. Touch lighting to be able to turn those lights off and on. A little bit of storage above that. Then we have our 4G LTE wine guard system. We can add that gateway in there. That's part of that antenna system we saw up top. Put a SIM card in there, pay a monthly subscription. You have internet with you wherever you go, or you can use it as a repeater if you have Wi-Fi at the campsite. Repeat it, and then we can have internet a little bit stronger in our unit. Upgrade, optional edition, use it, don't use it. On our AC systems, like I said, you have that rear AC controlled by this thermostat right there. Only cool, no heat for that one. The heat will be controlled by the front one. All this is ducted, all right? So we're gonna have air flowing through this system. Whether this one AC is on and not that one, air is gonna travel all throughout the unit, which is nice. Then we have our little 27-inch smart TV right here. Behind this one, we're going to have, a little hard to see from here, if I move this out of the way, a little easier to reach, but there's an antenna booster back there. We turn that antenna booster on when we want to catch antenna channels. That'll go ahead and transmit a 12-volt boost to that antenna right there and pick up more air channels wherever we're at. If we're hooked to cable at the campsite, you want to turn that antenna booster off. And of course we have our entry, like I said, straight outside. Let's check out what we have right here. I took my cameraman's comfy seat and we can see nice storage over here. I like all the drawers in the unit. That makes it really easy when we're packing, and we can keep things separated rather than one just big open compartment to throw a duffel bag in. If you truly want to pack like you're at home, this is the way to go. A little storage tray under here to keep knickknacks, wallet, watch, whatever you want in there. And then we have our door down here at the bottom that gains access to that exterior storage there in the back, so we can grab whatever we need if we don't want to go outside to get it. Also have more cabinetry and storage here on the sides for the bigger stuff. And then we have a little nook if the kiddo doesn't want to sleep in his own bed and you don't want them crashing in yours, they can hang out right here. And then I love the view around this corner. Both emergency exit windows, but you can open them up and let the breeze in if you want. But just the view alone is awesome. If we don't want the view, want our privacy, click your shades down and it knocks out a ton of the light. Talking about construction, 1.5 inch vacuum bonded walls with Asdell. We talked about that. Our roof is fully walkable roof. We got up there and walked that. 3/8 inch plywood up there. 5/8 plywood on the floor with linoleum. We also have linoleum in our slide outs as well. All right, so we covered everything except the price. You want the price? Go check it out at greatamericanrv.com. I can tell you MSRP is $70,000. We're much better than that. Great American RV has great discounts, and we're constantly moving our price down so you can get the best benefit. You can look for a link down in the details that will give you the current inventory and pricing of this unit right here at greatamericanrv.com, or full lineup of all of our other vendors. Now, if you like this video, we want more, we got plenty of them. Make sure you click like and subscribe. If you want to comment about a floor plan that you want to see specifically, whether it be Venture, Keystone, Airstream, Integra, whatever you want, leave it down in the comments. Let us know that we're doing a good job. We're doing the extra for you here at Great American RV, where we're making memories one weekend at a time.